Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. We're going to be working on subtraction with regrouping. So we're going to be practicing some problems. We're going to be subtracting across zeros. We're going to be using larger numbers. So I hope this will help you better understand subtraction and get some practice. So let's get started. My first problem of the day is 365,123 minus 189,562. The first thing I need to do to subtract is set up my problem with a large number on top and all of my place values lined up. I see a 3 in this hundred thousands place, which shows me which is bigger than 1, so I know that 365,123 is the larger number. I then am going to line up my next number, 189,562, making sure that all of my place values line up and are in order. Okay? My ones are together, my tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. Once that happens, I'm ready to subtract. I'm going to start my lowest place value, the hundreds place, and I'm going to see if I can do 3 minus 2. If I have 3 cookies, could I give somebody else 2 of them? Yes, I could, because my top is larger than my bottom. 3 minus 2 is 1. I'm going to move over to my next place value then and do 2 minus 6. This is a problem I can't do because my bottom is larger. I don't have enough to start out. So I have to borrow. I go to my next place value. My 2 asks the 1, hey, can I borrow a 10? The 1 says yes. It gives it to him, becomes a 0. My 2 becomes a 12 because all we're going to do is put a 1 in front of the number that's there. 12 minus 6 is 6. I come over to my next place value, the hundreds place, and I see if I can do 0 minus 5. I cannot because my bottom is bigger. I go, the 0 asks the 5, hey, can I borrow a 10? It says yes, makes it a 4, and we put a 1 in front of the 0 to make it a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, and I keep moving. I see if I can do 4 minus 9. The answer is no. The 4 asks the 6 to borrow. It does. We make it a 5, put a 1 in front of the 4. 14 minus 9 is 5. I do 5 minus 8 next. I can't do that, so I have to borrow again. It becomes a 2, and I add a 1 in front of my 5. 15 minus 8 is 7. I can do 2 minus 1 because my top is larger, and I get 1. The biggest thing you have to remember, y'all, is make sure that you do not take without borrowing. Remember, that's stealing. So you need to make sure that you're taking before you add it back to where it needs to be. The next problem we're going to do is 936,541 minus 687,652. Once again, I'm going to put my larger number on top. I see a 9 versus a 6 in the hundred thousands place, so I know that my 936,541 is the larger number. I'm then going to subtract 687, making sure that I line up all of my place values so that they match up correctly. My ones are lined up, my tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, so I'm ready to go. I start my lowest place value, the ones. I do 1 minus 2. I can't do that. My bottom is bigger, so I have to borrow. I take from my 4, making sure that I take it before I add it back to my 1 so that I'm not stealing. 11 minus 2 gives me 9. I can't do 3 minus 5, so once again, I'm going to borrow. I take from the 5, making it a 4, before I add a 1 in front of my 3 to make it 13. 13 minus 5 is 8. I come over here, 14 minus 6, or 4 minus 6, I cannot do yet, so I have to borrow, make this a 5, then make this a 14. 14 minus 6 gives me 8 again. I have 5 minus 7, which I cannot do. My bottom is bigger, so I come over here and borrow from the 3. I take 1, make it a 2 before I add 1 to the 5 to make it 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. I cannot do 2 minus 8, so I come over here from the 9 and borrow, making it an 8 first to make sure I don't steal before I add a 1 in front of the 2 to make it 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 8 minus 6 is 2. So the final answer would be 248,889. Okay? For our final problem of the day, we're going to borrow across zeros. Now, it's a little bit harder, and it's really just making sure you continue to borrow until you fix the problem that you originally had. So once again, it's going to start out like any other subtraction problem. I'm going to put the larger number on top. I see that there's a 3 in the 100,000s place, so that makes my 321,005 larger than my 189,218. I'm then going to subtract, making sure and line up all of my place values, which I've done, and I'm ready to subtract. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5 minus 8. I cannot do that. My 8 is larger. So my 5 is going to go over to the next place value and say, hey, can I borrow? The 0 says, I'm sorry, I don't have anything to borrow. So it's going to go over here and say, hey, can I borrow from you? And the 0 once again is going to say, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. So it's going to say, let me check. It borrows then from the 1. The 1 says, yeah, I can give you something. It turns this into a 0, turns this into a 10. And we go back. But has that fixed my 5 minus 8 problem yet? No, so I have to do it again. The 5 says, hey, 0, can I borrow something? 0 says, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. Then the 0 says, can I borrow from you? It does, because it can take from a 10. It becomes a 9. This 0 becomes a 10. But it has still not helped me with this problem yet. So the 5 asks the 10, hey, 0, hey, 10, can I borrow from you? The 10 says, yes, finally I have something to give. It becomes a 9. This becomes a 15. I have finally been able to solve my 5 minus 8 issue. I can do 15 minus 8, which leaves me with 7. Then I move over. This is now a 9. 9 minus 1 I can do. That leaves me with 8. Then I come over here. I can do 9 minus 2, so that leaves me with 7. Then I come over here. I cannot do 0 minus 9, so I have to borrow. This becomes a 1. This once again becomes a 10 because I'm just going to put a 1 in front of the number that's already there. 1 in front of a 0 becomes 10. 10 minus 9 is 1. I come over here to move on to my next place value. I cannot do 1 minus 8, so I borrow from the 3. It becomes a 2. I put a 1 in front of the 1 that's already there to make 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. So my final answer would be 131,787. The biggest thing you need to do is make sure you continually move over the place values until you're able to answer the original question you had. Keep borrowing until you can fill it out. I hope this helped with subtraction, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.